Captain Diana Thorne stood at the viewport of the USS Intrepid, watching the crystalline spires of Luminara's capital city catch the light of its twin suns. After 15 years of space exploration, she thought she'd seen everything. She was wrong. The alien architecture defied Earth physics, structures that seemed to float without support, their surfaces refracting light in impossible patterns. But Diana wasn't here to admire the view. Humanity needed this alliance, and she'd been chosen to secure it, though she still questioned the Admiralty's judgment in selecting her. "Captain, they're ready for you," Lieutenant Reed announced from behind her. Diana straightened her dress uniform, touching the scar that ran along her jaw, a reminder of her last diplomatic mission gone wrong. "Very well." The descent to the surface was smooth, their shuttle guided by invisible forces rather than conventional thrusters. Diana's small delegation included Dr. Ramesh, their xenobiologist, and Security Chief Winters. The welcome party awaiting them consisted of tall, silvery-skinned beings whose movements seemed to flow like liquid mercury. But it was their leader who captured Diana's attention. Sovereign Vesta Kreth stood apart, her form more substantial than her ethereal subjects. Her skin held a deeper metallic sheen, almost platinum, and her eyes, 3 of them, were the color of distant nebulae. "Captain Thorne," Vesta's voice resonated in Diana's mind rather than her ears. "Your reputation precedes you. The human who outmaneuvered the Centaurian fleet with nothing but a mining vessel and her wit." Diana bowed slightly. "Your luminance. Though I suspect your intelligence sources have embellished that particular tale." "Have they?" Vesta glided forward, her movement creating ripples in the crystalline floor. "Or perhaps they've understated your capabilities. Shall we find out?" Before Diana could respond, the entire welcoming chamber transformed. The walls became transparent, revealing they stood atop a massive game board that stretched for kilometers in every direction. Holographic pieces materialized around them, some resembling Earth chess pieces, others completely alien in design. "My people believe," Vesta continued, "that true understanding comes through play. Your species calls it game theory, yes. But you've only scratched the surface of its potential." Diana felt her team tense behind her. This wasn't in any of their briefings. "You're proposing we negotiate through a game?" "I'm proposing we determine humanity's worth through one." Vesta's middle eye fixed on Diana with unsettling intensity. "The stakes: if you win, the Luminaran Empire allies with Earth, providing technology centuries beyond your current capabilities. If I win, let me guess, you want our planet?" Vesta's laugh echoed like wind through crystal. "Oh no, Captain. If I win, I want you." Diana's hand instinctively moved toward her weapon, but Winters beat her to it, drawing his pulse pistol. In an instant, the alien guard's forms shifted, becoming living weapons. "Stand down," Diana ordered, never taking her eyes off Vesta. "What exactly do you mean by want me?" "Your mind, Captain. Your strategic capabilities. You would serve as my personal advisor for 1 Earth year. A small price for the chance to save your species." "Save our species? From what?" Vesta waved her hand, and the space above them filled with stellar cartography. Red lines spread like infection through the galaxy's spiral arms. "The Void Collective approaches. Within 3 years, they will reach Earth's sector. Without our help, humanity will fall. As will we, eventually. Unless we work together," Diana finished. "And you want to test my capabilities through this game before committing to an alliance?" "Precisely." Vesta's form shimmed with approval. "The game is called Stellar Crucible. It combines strategy, resource management, and psychological warfare. Each move reveals as much about the player as it does about their tactical prowess." Diana studied the massive board beneath their feet. The pieces seemed to pulse with internal light, and she could swear some of them were watching her. This wasn't just a game, it was a test, an interview, and possibly a trap all rolled into one. What's to prevent you from simply taking what you want? Your technology clearly surpasses ours. The same thing that prevents your ship in orbit from attempting a precision strike on this location, Vesta replied smoothly. Mutual assured destruction. Besides, her form shifted, becoming more humanoid. Where's the fun in that? Diana felt a smile tugging at her lips despite herself. How long do I have to decide? The Void Collective isn't known for their patience, Captain. You have until the second sun sets. Approximately 1 Earth hour. Vesta gestured, and a crystalline timepiece materialized between them, its internal light slowly dimming. Choose wisely. As Diana watched the alien sovereign glide away, leaving her team to contemplate the massive game board, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than a diplomatic gambit. The way Vesta had looked at her, as if seeing past her uniform to something beneath, she'd seen that look before, in her own reflection, studying an opponent. Captain, Ramesh whispered, this is unprecedented. The cultural implications alone could change everything or doom us all, Diana finished. She touched her scar again, remembering the last time she'd gambled with humanity's future. Begin analysis of the game board. I want to know everything you can tell me about its structure, the pieces, any patterns you can detect. And get me a secure link to the Intrepid. If we're going to play this game, we're going to play it smart. The first sun began to set, casting the crystal city in shades of amber and rose. Somewhere in that maze of impossible architecture, Vesta Kreth was preparing her strategy. Diana had 1 hour to decide if she would risk everything on a game she didn't understand, against an opponent who could literally read her mind. The fate of 2 civilizations hung in the balance, and the game hadn't even begun. The game board shimmered beneath Diana's feet as she made her opening move. The crystalline piece, something between a night and a supernova, hummed with energy as she touched it, responding to her neural patterns in ways that both fascinated and unsettled her. Interesting choice, Vesta observed from across the vast playing field. The stellar gambit opening. Aggressive, yet calculated. The alien sovereign's form rippled with what Diana was beginning to recognize as amusement. You've been studying our historical matches. Know your opponent, Diana replied, watching as Vesta's countermove sent ripples through the quantum field that seemed to serve as the board's foundation. Though I suspect you've shown Earth's analysts exactly what you wanted them to see. The next hour passed in a dance of light and strategy. Each move revealed new dimensions to the game, spatial, temporal, even psychological. Diana found herself drawing on every lesson learned during her years of command, yet still felt like she was barely scratching the surface of the game's complexity. Your mind is exceptional, Vesta commented during a particularly intense exchange of moves. Most species can't grasp the 11-dimensional aspects of stellar crucible without years of training. Maybe humans are more adaptable than you expected, Diana replied, executing a maneuver that caused several of Vesta's pieces to phase shift into a defensive configuration. Or maybe I'm just a quick study. A subtle change crossed Vesta's ethereal features. Perhaps both. She paused, her 3 eyes focusing on Diana with unsettling intensity. Tell me, Captain, have you considered why your superiors really chose you for this mission? Diana's hand hesitated over her next piece. My diplomatic experience led to the Proxima incident and that scar on your jaw. Vesta's form shimmered closer. No. You were chosen because you understand sacrifice. The necessary cost of victory. The words hit Diana like a physical blow, bringing back memories she'd fought hard to suppress. The impossible choice at Proxima Centauri. The faces of those she'd left behind to save the many. You're trying to distract me. I'm trying to warn you. Vesta's voice carried an urgency that hadn't been there before. She made a move that seemed almost desperate. Look deeper at the game board, Captain. What do you see? Diana forced herself to focus, to see beyond the surface beauty of the quantum pieces. The patterns began to shift in her mind, revealing. This isn't just a game. It's a star map. Her eyes widened as the realization hit. The Void Collective's invasion route. Now you begin to understand. Vesta's form briefly destabilized, her outer layer of containment flickering to reveal something darker beneath. But not everything. Your Earth Command knows more than they've told you about what approaches. About why. Before Diana could respond, alarms blared throughout the Crystal Palace. The game board's light pulsed red, and security barriers materialized around them. Through the transparent walls, Diana watched as multiple ships dropped out of hyperspace, ships bearing Earth Navy markings. Captain. Lieutenant Reed's voice crackled through her comm, the Intrepid is reporting unauthorized launches from Earth's secondary fleet. They're targeting the palace. Diana spun to face Vesta, who looked unsurprised but grieved. Did you know this would happen? I knew someone would try to prevent our alliance. Vesta's form solidified, becoming more warrior than sovereign. Just as I knew you weren't part of their plan. Your move, Captain Thorne. But choose quickly, the game has become rather more literal than intended. The palace shuddered under the first barrage. Diana's tactical training kicked in, assessing angles of attack, defensive capabilities, escape routes. But something about the attack pattern seemed wrong. These weren't standard Earth Navy tactics. The Void Collective, she breathed. They've already infiltrated Earth's command structure. Vesta nodded grimly. The game was never about testing your worthiness for an alliance, Diana. It was about proving to you why we need each other. She held out her hand, her platinum skin rippling with internal light. Your people's weapons can't harm me. But they can destroy this palace, and with it, the quantum core that maintains my civilization's coherence. Another blast rocked the chamber. Through the chaos, Diana spotted movement in the shadows, palace guards transforming into living weapons, preparing for battle. But against Earth ships under void control. If you trust me, Vesta continued, take my hand. The game isn't over, but the rules have changed. We can save both our peoples, but only together. Diana looked at the offered hand, then at the battle unfolding above the Crystal City. Everything she'd been taught about duty, about protecting Earth's interests, screamed at her to find another way. But as she watched the attacking ship's erratic movements, just slightly off from standard Earth patterns, she knew Vesta was right. Together, Diana agreed, grasping Vesta's hand. The contact sent a shock through her system, as if she'd touched pure energy. But I need to know everything. No more games. Vesta's grip tightened. The truth is far stranger than any game, Captain. Are you ready to learn what your superiors have been hiding? What the Void Collective really is? The palace's defenses began to fail as Diana made her choice. Whatever came next would change everything, for her, for Earth, for the galaxy itself. The game board beneath them shattered, but she held on, meeting all three of Vesta's eyes with determination. The quantum tunnels beneath Luminara's crystal palace defied human physics. Diana ran alongside Vesta, their hands still linked, as reality twisted around them. Each step covered kilometers, yet her mind somehow processed the impossible distance. The connection goes deeper than infiltration, Vesta explained as they moved. Her form flickered between solid and ethereal, adapting to the quantum space. The Void Collective isn't just controlling your ships, they're rewriting your people's neural patterns. Changing them from within. How long? Diana demanded, thinking of the subtle wrongness she'd noticed in Earth Command's recent decisions. How deep does this go? The first infiltration began 3 Earth years ago. Small changes at first, a strategic decision here, a personnel transfer there. But now, they emerged into a vast chamber that hummed with energy. Crystalline terminals displayed star charts overlaid with spreading patterns of corruption. Now they're accelerating their plans. Diana studied the displays, her enhanced perception from contact with Vesta allowing her to process the multidimensional data. These patterns, they match the game board. You weren't teaching me to play, you were showing me their invasion strategy. Yes. And now, watch this. Vesta waved her free hand, and the display shifted. The corruption patterns aligned with Earth's recent military movements, forming a perfect match. Your fleet's defensive repositioning has been opening gaps for their advance. Gaps that would have gone unnoticed without understanding the higher dimensional chess they're playing. A distant explosion rocked the chamber. Diana's comm crackled with Lieutenant Reed's voice, "Captain. Earth Command is broadcasting orders for all ships to engage the Luminaran defenses. They're claiming the Sovereign has taken you hostage." "Of course they are," Diana muttered. She turned to Vesta, noting how the alien's grip on her hand had tightened. "You said the truth was stranger than the game. Show me." Vesta's 3 eyes seemed to peer into her soul. "It will change you. The knowledge, it alters more than just understanding. I'm already changed." Diana gestured with their joined hands, where energy crackled between their touching skin. "Whatever this is, whatever's happening between us, I need to know why." Vesta nodded slowly. "The Void Collective isn't just an invading force, they're what remains of the first iteration of my species. The ones who chose to transcend physical form entirely." Her outer layer of containment rippled, revealing glimpses of the pure energy form beneath. "We were like them once, beings of pure quantum consciousness. But we saw what that transcendence cost. Which was empathy. Connection. The ability to truly understand other forms of life. In pursuing perfect efficiency, they lost what made existence meaningful." Vesta's form stabilized, becoming more solid. "Those of us who chose to maintain physical form were considered flawed. Inefficient. They've spent millennia trying to correct that choice." Another explosion, closer this time. The displays showed more Earth ships entering the system. Diana processed the tactical situation while grappling with the implications of Vesta's words. "And now they want to correct humanity too. Turn us into perfect, efficient, emotionless beings of pure energy and logic." Vesta's grip tightened again. "Your capacity for emotion, for illogical but brilliant decisions, for adaptation, it terrifies them. As does your potential." "Potential for what?" Before Vesta could answer, the chamber's defenses flared. Through the crystalline walls, Diana saw figures approaching, palace guards, but their movements were wrong. Their silver skin had taken on a dark, void-like quality. "They're here," Vesta hissed. "The Void's quantum infiltrators. Diana, whatever happens, don't break physical contact with me. Your connection to my quantum field is the only thing protecting you from their influence." The corrupted guards attacked, their forms dissolving into pure energy that sought to overwhelm the chamber's defenses. Diana watched in horror as one guard's face melted away to reveal a swirling vortex of darkness. "How do we fight them?" "We don't. Not here." Vesta pulled her toward a quantum terminal. "The game board showed you their strategy, now I need your tactical mind to help me counter it. But first." She pressed her free hand to the terminal, and energy surged through their joined hands. Diana gasped as knowledge flooded her consciousness, quantum mechanics far beyond human understanding, the true nature of spacetime, and something else, something personal. She saw Vesta's memories of watching Earth, of studying Diana specifically, of recognizing something in her that might save both their species. "You chose me," Diana realized, staring at Vesta with new understanding. "Long before this mission. You've been watching me since Proxima. I chose you because you understand that sometimes the right choice feels wrong. That sacrifice and compassion aren't opposites." Vesta's form shifted closer, her energy field intertwining with Diana's. "And because you, like me, know the price of standing against the tide. The corrupted guards breached the inner defenses. Time was running out. Diana squeezed Vesta's hand, accepting both the connection and the responsibility it brought. Then let's show them what happens when the tide meets an immovable object. Together, they turned to the quantum terminal. Diana's enhanced perception merged with Vesta's knowledge of quantum space, forming strategies that existed in 11 dimensions. Above them, the battle for Luminara's surface raged. But the real war, Diana now understood, would be fought on levels most humans couldn't comprehend. As she worked, she felt Vesta's consciousness brush against hers, sharing not just knowledge but emotion, fear, hope, and something deeper neither of them was ready to name. The fate of two civilizations rested on their success. But with each passing moment, Diana wondered if they were saving more than just their peoples. They were saving the right to feel, to choose, to be gloriously imperfect. And that, she realized, was worth any price. The quantum terminal pulsed with 11-dimensional equations as Diana's enhanced consciousness grappled with concepts that would have broken her mind an hour ago. Through her connection with Vesta, she understood how the Void Collective had hidden their influence in the very fabric of spacetime. There, she said, highlighting a pattern in the quantum flow. They're not just corrupting our ship's crews, they're using our drive signatures to create quantum entanglement points. Each fleet movement spreads their influence further. Vesta's form shimmered with approval. Yes. And here. Her free hand traced another pattern, revealing hidden connections. They've created a lattice of quantum corruption. When it's complete, they can convert entire regions of space at once. Diana felt sick. Turn everyone within the lattice into them. The chamber shuddered as more corrupted guards attacked the outer defenses. Through their shared connection, Diana felt Vesta's growing concern. The Luminaran sovereign's outer containment field was weakening, requiring more energy to maintain physical form. Your people, Diana asked, the ones who chose physical form, why? What made that choice worth fighting a war over? Vesta's three eyes focused on her with impossible depth. Watch. She pressed their joined hands to the terminal again, but this time the knowledge transfer felt different. Instead of tactical data or quantum mechanics, Diana experienced memories. She saw the Luminaran civilization at its height, beings of pure energy and thought who had transcended all physical limitations. She felt their perfect efficiency, their absolute logic, and their growing emptiness. Then she experienced the moment of choice through Vesta's ancestors' eyes, the realization that something precious was being lost. They felt it first in music, Vesta whispered, her voice carrying echoes of ancient grief. Songs that once moved us to tears became mere patterns of waves. Art lost its power to inspire. Love. Her grip tightened. Love became nothing but chemical reactions and quantum entanglement. Diana understood. Through their connection, she felt the depth of what Vesta's people had nearly lost, what the Void Collective had willingly sacrificed. That's why they fear us. Humans still feel everything so intensely. Yes. Your species burns so bright. Your emotions drive you to create, to explore, to exceed your own limitations. It's beautiful. Vesta's form shifted closer, her energy field harmonizing with Diana's. And terrible, sometimes. But that capacity for both is what makes you unique. Another explosion rocked the chamber. The displays showed more Earth ships arriving, but something about their formation had changed. Diana studied the pattern, her enhanced perception spotting the anomaly. The Intrepid, she breathed. Lieutenant Reed is repositioning our allies, disrupting the quantum lattice without even knowing it. Human intuition. Creating beautiful chaos in their perfect patterns. Vesta's approval radiated through their connection. Now, watch this. She manipulated the quantum terminal, and suddenly Diana saw it, a plan hidden in plain sight, coded into the very game they'd played earlier. Every move they'd made had altered quantum strings on a subatomic level, creating a counterlattice to the void's corruption. You knew, Diana accused, but there was admiration in her voice. You set up the game board to start this process before we even met. I hoped, Vesta corrected. But it required your specific quantum signature, your particular way of thinking, to complete the pattern. Her outer containment flickered again, and Diana felt a spike of pain through their connection. Though I didn't expect it to demand quite so much energy to maintain. Diana turned to her, really seeing her now. You're burning yourself out. Maintaining this connection, the physical form, fighting the corruption, it's too much. A necessary sacrifice. Vesta's smile was strained but genuine. My people understood the price of keeping our physical form. Just as I understand the price of this choice. No. Diana's grip on Vesta's hand became almost painful. There's always another way. That's what makes us different from them, remember. We find options they'd never consider because they're too focused on perfect efficiency. Through their connection, Diana pushed back, sharing her own energy, her own life force. She felt Vesta's surprise, then her resistance. Diana, don't. The quantum feedback could kill you. Or it could save us both. Diana placed their joined hands back on the terminal. You chose to maintain physical form because emotion, connection, love, they're worth the cost. Let me prove you right. The chamber filled with light as Diana's consciousness fully merged with Vesta's. Together, they saw the complete pattern, not just the void's corruption or their own counterlattice, but a third option that only became visible when human intuition met Luminaran quantum science. Above them, the battle for Luminara reached its crescendo. But in that secret chamber, surrounded by quantum light, two beings from vastly different species discovered that the space between stars wasn't nearly as void as it seemed. It was filled with possibility. With hope. With proof that some connections transcended physical form without sacrificing what made them precious. Now they just had to survive long enough to share that proof with both their peoples. The quantum realm blazed with possibilities as Diana and Vesta's merged consciousness raced through 11-dimensional space. Their shared energy signature created ripples in reality itself, disrupting the void collective's carefully constructed patterns of corruption. The counterlattice is nearly complete, Diana observed, her thoughts intertwining with Vesta's in ways that should have been impossible. But they're adapting. Learning from our resistance. Through their connection, she felt Vesta's grim acknowledgement. The Void Collective had noticed their interference. The corrupted guards outside the chamber had stopped trying to break in, instead, they were channeling pure void energy into the quantum structure of the palace itself. They're trying to collapse the entire quantum foundation, Vesta realized. If the palace falls, your people lose their anchor point for physical form, Diana finished. They'll be forced to either transcend or. She didn't need to complete the thought. Through their link, she felt Vesta's pain at the prospect of her people's extinction. But there was something else too, a plan forming in the sovereign's quantum consciousness, one that made Diana's human instincts scream in protest. No, Diana said firmly, tightening their physical and mental connection. Whatever you're thinking of sacrificing yourself to accomplish, we'll find another way. Always so beautifully human, Vesta's mental voice held both affection and resignation. But sometimes sacrifice is necessary. Maybe. But it doesn't have to be yours alone. Diana pushed their joined hands deeper into the quantum terminal, forcing their merged consciousness to examine all 11 dimensions simultaneously. Look. Really look. What do you see? The patterns shifted, revealing new possibilities. The void's corruption spread like a perfect crystal structure, mathematical, efficient, unstoppable. Their counterlattice fought against it, creating zones of chaos in the ordered pattern. But there, in the spaces between. Harmony, Vesta breathed. Not order or chaos, but balance. Diana's tactical mind merged with Vesta's quantum understanding, seeing the full picture at last. They've spent millennia pursuing transcendence, thinking it meant abandoning physical form. But what if true transcendence means something else? Above them, the battle for Luminara reached a fever pitch. The Intrepid led a desperate defense against corrupted Earth ships, while the Crystal Palace's structure began to fail. They were out of time. The game bored, Diana said suddenly. It wasn't just showing their invasion pattern or creating our counterlattice. The quantum resonance we created while playing, it's still active. Still changing the fundamental structure of this space. Vesta's form shimmered with sudden understanding. Every move we made, every choice, was teaching us how to dance. Diana smiled, the expression carrying through their mental link. Ready to show the Void Collective some new steps. Together, they reached into the quantum substrate of reality. Diana's humanity, her capacity for intuition, emotion, and illogical leaps of faith, merged with Vesta's mastery of 11-dimensional space. Their shared consciousness expanded, touching every quantum particle within the palace's radius. The Void Collective's corruption met not resistance, but invitation. Instead of fighting the transcendence they offered, Diana and Vesta showed them a new path, one that preserved the beauty of physical form while accessing higher dimensions of existence. The effect rippled outward like a quantum chain reaction. Corrupted guards stopped their assault, their void dark forms flickering with new possibilities. Above the palace, Earth ships ceased firing as their crews experienced a moment of clarity, the void's influence disrupted by this new pattern of being. But the price was enormous. Supporting this transformation demanded energy on a scale that threatened to burn out both their consciousness. Diana, Vesta's mental voice was strained. You have to let go. Your human form can't sustain this level of quantum integration. Neither can your containment field, Diana countered. But if we drop the connection now, the pattern collapses. Everything we've shown them disappears. Through their link, she pushed every ounce of her human stubbornness. Besides, I'm not finished dancing. Their joined consciousness reached deeper, drawing on something beyond mere energy or quantum mechanics. Diana's capacity for love, fierce, illogical, unshakable, met Vesta's ancient understanding of transcendence. The combination created something entirely new. The Crystal Palace blazed with impossible light as two beings showed three civilizations a truth they'd forgotten, that the greatest transcendence comes not from abandoning what makes us unique, but from sharing it with others. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as the transformation spread. The Void Collective's perfect patterns dissolved and reformed, incorporating chaos and emotion into their quantum existence. Earth ships' crews awakened to find themselves both more and less than they'd been, touched by understanding that transcended normal human consciousness. And the Luminarans. Look, Diana whispered through their link. Look what we've made. The quantum displays showed the results of their gambit. Three civilizations, their patterns no longer in conflict but in harmony. The Void Collective's drive for transcendence tempered by human emotion and Luminaran wisdom. Earth's chaotic potential stabilized by quantum understanding. And the Luminarans themselves, their choice to maintain physical form validated by this new way of existing. As the light faded and their merged consciousness gradually separated, Diana felt Vesta's form solidify beside her. Their hands remained joined, but now the connection felt less like desperate survival and more like a choice. The game is over, Vesta said softly, her three eyes holding new depths of emotion. Diana smiled, squeezing her hand. No. I think it's just beginning. Around them, the Crystal Palace hummed with renewed energy as its quantum structure stabilized. Outside, Earth ships and Luminaran defenses stood down as their crews grappled with their new understanding. And somewhere in 11-dimensional space, the Void Collective discovered that perfection wasn't about transcending emotion, it was about learning to feel deeply enough to transform reality itself. Your move, Diana said, turning to face her no longer alien companion. Vesta's answering smile held all the mystery and promise of uncharted stars. I believe it's time for a new game entirely. Together, They stepped forward to help their peoples navigate this new existence, one where the space between stars held not emptiness, but infinite possibilities for connection.